The whole of this week, Ghanaians have been listening to very shocking revelations from the Auditor General's report about how much of your money was wasted in one way or the other, or which of your money has been spent but unaccounted for. Now, what happens after the Auditor General's job is done? The next process is to take it to Parliament. So my guest today on Face to Face is the man who chairs the committee in Parliament whose job it is to audit the Auditor General's report. My name is Umaru Sandamado. You're welcome to Face to Face. My guest is the Member of Parliament for Ketu North. Ketu North it is, and he's been in Parliament since 2005. He has risen through the ranks. He's become Deputy Minority Leader. He was Deputy Majority Leader of the House when the NDC was in power. Now he's also the Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee. It is his committee that looks through the Auditor General's report when it is brought after the media makes so much noise about it. Honorable James Kluche Avedzi, you're welcome to Face to Face.
Thank you.
I see there's a doctor in your name too, so I have to add that one too.
Yes,
is it the book? Is it a book one or the Abui one?
It's a book one.
I see. So you congratulations on being a doctor, and the grey hair too. Where is it? The grey beard? Where is that coming from?
Well, it's been part of me. That is how God created me.
Okay.
Probably I've been hiding it.
You've been suppressing it
all the time. So now I've decided that what God has given me should be given out.
So you didn't dye it? It's not like...
No, it's not a
This is your
one.
natural grey hair?
this is my natural hair.
So your head is also grey?
Yes.
So you've been concealing it and you decided, look, I don't want to be young anymore. Let me just grow old.
Yes.
I see. How are you doing though?
By the grace of God.
You were a Deputy Majority Leader?
No, unfortunately I wasn't.
You weren't Deputy Majority Leader?
No, at the time we were in power, I chaired the Finance Committee.
Okay.
For the 8 years, from 2009 to January 2017. So the 8th year that MDC was in power, I chaired the Finance Committee.
Wait, who was your Deputy Majority?
The Deputy Majority Leader at the time, one time was Honorable Agbeshi.
Okay, then Rashid Pelpo.
Then Rashid Pelpo came.
Apologies to those people.
Yes.
Forgive me. Okay,
yes.
So this is your first time being deputy? No, this will be your second
This
time.
is my second time of Deputy Minority.
So under Akufo-Addo's government, under the MPP administration, you've been deputy at the bench throughout to Haruna Idrisu.
Yes, I've been deputy to Haruna Idrisu.
So this is your 6th year or 5th year?
This is my fifth year now.
5th year deputy majority.
Deputy.
Oh, okay. But how is it looking like? The last time you were a complete minority, so you were fine. You knew that we are a minority. But now you are not sure whether you are minority or majority. You are in between there.
Well, by the ruling of the Speaker, we are minority. Since the independent member decide to work with the majority side or the government side, let's put it that way, by one difference, it has become
a balanced
majority because they are 138 now and we are 137. So we accept that we are minority. The only thing is that even though we are minority, we have the numbers that certain things that they used to do by bulldozing their way cannot be done now. Most of the issues must be debated thoroughly before decision is taken. But what guide our side is what is the interest of the public in whatever policy or decision that we are taking on the floor. If the interest of the public is factored into that decision, we will support it all the time.
But the viewers would have a contrary view, though, that they still manage to bulldoze their way through with everything that they bring anyway, despite your numbers, which is almost
it means that then the public want us to have a deadlock. And once we have a deadlock, that will move on this country. You see?
So you have to make concessions.
Money will not be released for activities to be undertaken.
There will be a shutdown.
So in that case, it's the public rather that will lose. So we need to do a more of education because governance must continue. They are in power. They bring issues to us in terms of policy, in terms of whatever they want to do. We serve as a check on them. Or we realize that they want to bring water to a community. Okay? Now that water will benefit the people. do you want to stop it so that the people don't get water? So we factor in the interests of the public. We have the numbers. We can stop them, especially when their ministers don't come to Parliament all the time. So you can see that any particular time that issues are brought, if they don't marshal their ministers to also be on the floor, will be more than them. And what decision are taken, we say no, then that activity will not be undertaken.
It is good you bring that point in. I have spoken to some members on your side who are disgruntled. They say that your side, the NDC leadership in the House, decided to accept a proposal from the government side that let's start sittings at 2 p.m. henceforth. And the Speaker actually gave a directive or a ruling of a sort that henceforth you're going to start sitting, is it 1 p.m. or 2 p.m.? Now, they think that this is to serve and satisfy the NPP side and the government side in the House. They feel that is a betrayal. How did you arrive at that conclusion that Parliament henceforth ceases to sit from 10 a.m., but rather sits at 1 or 2, when they think that you're just going to satisfy the NPP?
Well, this is not a new thing. It has been on the table for a long time to discuss whether the House should sit at 2 p.m. or the usual 10 a.m. or even there was even a proposal for the House to sit at 4 p.m. Now, this happened in other countries where in the morning session is used by members, especially the committees, to sit and consider referral to them. Then in the afternoon, the House sits to do public business. So that discussion has been ongoing. So the current Speaker said, let's try it and see how it works. So you realize that now on Tuesdays that we sit as the first day of the week, we sit in the morning. That is 10 a.m. Then Wednesday and Thursday we sit in the afternoon at 2 p.m. On Friday also we sit in the morning at 10 a.m. Now we are waiting for the completion of the new standing orders. Then it can be put in the standing orders and they'll become law for us to follow. But for now, it's just a trial.
Okay.
Yes.
But they think, in your members, I'm referring to NDC members, they think that in the morning, I'm a member of Parliament. I do not hold an executive position.
Yeah.
What do I do from morning till afternoon or to evening if my committee is not sitting? Meanwhile, a minister who is also an MP gets to go to ministry, go and do their work, and then come into Parliament and also take part in votes and proceedings. They think that that is changing the NDC side.
I think
and
my advice is that if you're an MP and you don't have a committee business to do in the morning, definitely you have business with your constituents.
Yeah, but your constituency is in Jirapa, for instance.
Not to go there. Your constituency needs a lot of projects, development projects. Once the ministers are sitting in the morning in their offices, you go to them and make a request for your constituency people.
So make your time useful.
Useful.
Don't sleep at home.
No, it makes your time useful. That's the time for you to go and lobby for projects for your constituency. If you have committee meeting, that's the time for you to be in a committee meeting and do committee business. Then in the afternoon, we'll do public business. But it's something we are trying. And if it's something that will not work well, we'll revert to our usual time, which is 10 a.m.
Your hardcore NDC members, do they understand this approach you explained to me earlier that if you get into a stalemate, the government will shut down? Do they have this understanding? Do they appreciate it? Because for many...
They do. That is why when we in leadership signal them and tell them, we have to go by this, they listen to us.
I'm not referring to the people in the chamber. I'm referring to an ordinary NDC person in Veta, for instance.
That is why I say in the beginning that we need to do a lot of public education. Yeah, because I don't think they look at it from that angle. Or even they do, it's normal. And we want to come to power.
Okay.
So anything that we can do, whether there's a stalemate or not, that will give us the chance to come to power. That will be their objective more.
How has Asin North affected you, the judgment of the court, in your workings in the House? Because now it means you have two members short.
No, it didn't affect us. Because after that, we didn't take any major decision that we'll be needing all our numbers.
But you will be.
I say after that, we did not. So in future, we'll be taking it. But look, if that, it means that what will happen is that we will become 136 and they will still be 138 until a new election is conducted. If the outcome of the
Asin North
by election, no, you know, he has appealed. So after, if the appeal is not in favor of the MP, and then there's going to be a by-election. Until a by-election is conducted, they'll have a difference of 2.
Yes.
That 2 difference might not be too disastrous.
At this time, it is. From 1 to 2, that's huge. Then, see how much you guys fought to make sure
then it means that even the 1, assuming that there is a major decision, and we are 137, just add Asin, we are 137.
And they are 138.
They are 138. All of them are present. We're all present.
Yes.
Who will win?
The thing is that you had that situation and you won the speakership, remember?
Yes.
Again, don't forget that the man who makes them 138 is more inclined towards you because you offered him a job to be deputy speaker. They did not. They expelled him from the
party. You think that when it comes to voting, he vote for our side?
Yeah, he may be kind to you.
Well, if it's done,
so your chances are better with him.
Balloting, nobody will know who will vote for our side, or even if there's somebody from our side who will vote for their side, nobody will know. So it means that how we did it for us to get that difference.
You still do that?
We will still do it. Whether if the difference is even 4 or 5, we can still do that.
I see. This is Face to Face on City TV. My name is Omar Sandam, and my guest is James Klucha Avedzi. He's chairman of PAC or PAC. The position that used to be occupied by, guess who? The Health Minister, Kweku Agyemang-Manu. And we'll talk about the PAC now. Let me bring the Constitution, 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. Article 1875 reads, the Auditor General shall within 6 months after the end of the immediately preceding financial year to which each of the accounts mentioned in Clause 2 of this article relates, submit his report to Parliament, and shall in the report draw attention to any irregularities in the accounts audited and to any other matter which in his opinion ought to be brought to the notice of Parliament. Parliament shall debate the report of the Auditor General and appoint where necessary in the public interest a committee to deal with any matters arising from it. So that committee is a Public Accounts Committee which Parliament has already created. So it's a standing committee. James Klucha Avedzi is a chair. Are you chair by virtue of the fact that you are deputy leader of your side, or the House decides who anybody to be?
Well, let me give a bit background to the chairmanship of the Public Accounts Committee. It used to be the minority leaders who always chair. So in the first parliament, let me say the second parliament, when MPP joined, and then the late J.H. Mensah was the minority leader. He chaired the Public Accounts Committee.
Okay.
And so when President Kufuor came to power in 2001, and NDC was in opposition then, and Honorable Gbagbe, the current speaker, was then the minority leader. He chaired the Public Accounts Committee. So the position used to be the position for the minority leaders of Parliament. Then in 2005, when I came to Parliament for the first time, which was the fourth Parliament, the then minority leader, Honorable Gbagbe, decided that this position should be chaired by a professional.
An accountant?
An accountant. Somebody who has an accounting background, who has an audit background, should chair this committee. So he decided that he will not chair the Public Accounts Committee. So that was why Honorable Salas Mensah came to chair the Public Accounts Committee from 2005 to 2008. So that has been a history. So after that, when NDC came to power in 2009, and MPP became minority, they also decided to continue with that trend by asking a professional to chair. So from 2009 to 2012, it was chaired by Honorable Kandapa.
The now Minister for National Security.
The now Minister for National Security. He chaired it in the first term when NDC was in power. Then the second term, when President Mahama was in power from 2013 to 2016. It was chaired by Ajimamenu, the current health minister.
Another accountant.
Another accountant.
Okay.
So when we came to minority in 2017, we need to follow the trend because, in fact, we introduced it when Honorable Bagwin decided that. So I was the choice to chair the Public Accounts Committee.
At this time, you had chaired the Finance Committee.
I chaired the Finance Committee for 8 years.
So you have experience.
Even not chairing the Finance Committee, you know, I'm a professional.
I mean parliamentary experience.
Parliamentary experience.
Not professional
not
experience.
Professional experience. But because I'm an accountant and who have worked in the civil service for a long time before joining Parliament, I know a lot about what goes into public financial system. So I became the best choice to chair the committee.
So you did that, and this is your second term?
This is my second term.
Now, do they have to vote amongst, so if Parliament, if your side has like 10 accountants, how do they choose who becomes one, who becomes the chair?
You know, the committee of selection of Parliament does the membership of the various committees.
Okay.
But the information is provided by the leadership of the caucuses, the two caucuses, the majority caucus and minority caucus. They provide the information for the committee of selection. So the minority caucus will decide that, hey, let Honorable Avedzi chair the Public Accounts Committee. Oh, let Honorable Ato Forson become the ranking member of the Finance Committee. So we do all these permutations. It's a tedious job, actually.
I see.
And it's done by our whip. The whip and his deputies will sit down and do all those things and then bring it to our leadership meeting
to approve.
Now, when we do this, we also throw it sometimes to the party that we think that this is what. So if there's a suggestion from the party, they also make it. We factor those suggestions into it, then we finalize our list. We then submit our list to the committee of selection. The majority will also submit their list for committee of selection. They will marry the two.
And then you adopt.
Then we adopt.
So who is your vice?
My vice is Honorable Atamiros.
So that's also NDC?
It's also NDC.
Okay, so let me just say that there are two committees in Parliament whose chairmanship goes to the party in opposition.
Yeah.
So the Public Accounts Committee is one of them.
It's one of them.
And that's you. The other one is Constitutional and Legal Affairs.
Yes.
Now, that is supposed to be checks and balance. That's why the idea comes. So
Yes.
let the opposing party look into the books of the government.
That's right.
Instead of having the government side look into its own books.
That's right.
Is there an imbalance in the number of representation, or is always shebo?
The number on the committee by our Constitution, Article 103, it says that the membership of the committee shall reflect the strength of the various parties
caucuses
in the main house.
Okay.
So now that we are almost 50-50, it means that the membership must be chaired 50-50.
I see.
But you see, there is this one. There is a bit of, let me use the word cheating, because if the committee, the membership of the committee is an even number, they will share it equally. But why is an odd number? Because of one difference they have as majority, they take more than none. For instance, Finance Committee, they are 25. Majority side will be 13. Minority side will be 13.
Oh, okay.
Let's say another committee, 25. They will share it the same way.
Appointments committee is 26.
That we see that one they share it
13,
equally. Where it's an even number, 13-30. So where we have more odd numbers, the majority side will benefit.
Okay.
More than the minority
side. So in this instance, your committee is 13-13?
No, our committee is 25.
Okay.
But this one, we are taking 13 and they are taking 12.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
Because of the constitutional provision that gives you the power in that committee.
Exactly.
So at no point would an MPP person or a government person be chairing. It is your side that will be chairing.
Our side will be chairing.
So you
if I'm
do
not
the
there,
grilling.
the vice chairman will have to also chair.
Okay.
Assuming that there's a public hearing and I'm not there, my vice chairman have to chair.
Okay.
But we also have the ranking member who is from their side on the committee.
Okay. Now let's talk about this issue of backlog. In the past, when Kandapa was chair, before Kwekwa Jimambenu became chair, the issue was that You see them sitting in, say, 2017, they're discussing things in 2004.
Yeah.
Now, by that time, the person who committed that blunder may have even died or left Ghana or something. How have you managed to deal with that issue of backlog?
We still have a bit of backlog. But, you see, by the provision of the Constitution, we'll definitely have backlog at least a year or two all the time.
Okay, because it says 6 months after
6 months after the end of the year, the previous report must be laid in Parliament. Now we're in August. The report of the 2020 was laid in
the last Parliament.
Was laid in June.
Okay.
30th June, when that report was laid. And these are the report of 2020 report.
So that's the one that we are making so much noise about.
Yeah, this is what we are making noise about.
Are you going to open these books and start?
Well, if the question relates to this, I'll open.
No, what I mean is that, are you going to start sitting on this?
No, we will not start sitting on this one now. We're going to start sitting on this one 2023.
What? After all the noise we made about it?
Yes.
You won't do anything about it?
No.
Why? What's keeping you?
Because we have 2018, 2019 there.
You're yet to deal with that?
Yes. We are going to deal with 2018 and 19 next year. We'll do everything possible to clear 2 years. Yes. Because I'll be going to the region next week, and we're going to finish with 2017. Each year, we have about 7 or 8 reports. And if you take this report, the institutions that are cited in this report are more than 100. And bringing all these institutions before the committee for them to respond to the queries raised by the Auditor General and what action they have taken on those recommendations of the Auditor General, it takes a lot of time.
So you're dealing with 2017 now?
Now.
This is face-to-face. It's 2021, August. We are now discussing the books of Ghana from 2017. But the huge and big issue people have been talking about, indeed the media has been carrying, is the latest Auditor General's report, which is the 2020 report. And there are lots of companies and state institutions that have been cited in there. I'll ask his thoughts, though, even though they are not going to sit on it yet, and ask what processes they go through. And how can people be held culpable on these issues? Don't worry.
This is Fact Finder from the BBC.
We live in a world where news travels fast, and sometimes it's hard to differentiate fact from fiction. Fact Finder brings fact-checking from the newsroom up close so you can separate truth from chaff. Be empowered to tell what's fake from what's real. Watch Fact Finder by the BBC on City TV every Wednesday at 6 p.m. City TV. It's your world.
You're welcome back to Face on City TV. My name is Umaru Sandam, and my guest is the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, James Kluche Avedzi. Now, the Constitution provision says when the Auditor General is done with his job, after going to look through people's books, the public institutions, writing to them, they respond, compiles that in a book, puts one on his website, brings one to the House of Parliament. Then that's the end of his job. What do you do as a House?
No, that's not the end of his job.
Okay.
The Constitution says that the Auditor General shall audit the public accounts of Ghana and submit his report to Parliament. And then in his report, he must comment on those that he thinks Parliament need to discuss further.
Okay.
So those are the infractions you see in the Auditor General's report.
Okay.
Now, after this report has been submitted to Parliament, the law that created the Audit Service Act, Act 584, says that the Auditor General shall publish, Section 23, says that the Auditor General shall publish the report. That is why you see the Auditor General sometimes holding press conferences after he has submitted a report to Parliament to tell the public that's the format of publication. Every Auditor General decide on which Auditor General is in the office. Some decide that, let me do a press conference and give the highlight of the report, give the summary of my findings. One will say, well, I'll publish it in the Daily Graphic. Another will say, okay, let me publish it on my websites. So it's a form of publication.
It's your choice, discretion.
It's your choice. Now, when the report comes to Parliament, the Constitution says that the Parliament shall debate the report and form a committee, if necessary, in public interest to do a follow-up.
That's not your committee?
That's not my committee.
Okay, so when it says Parliament shall debate, that will be after your committee has worked?
That's right. It means that we cannot debate the entire report. How are you going to debate this report? So the committee, which is a committee established under Article 103 of the Constitution, shall go into the report, analyze it, call the officers who are cited, the institutions that are cited in the report, call them to come and respond to the recommendations of the Auditor General.
Why do you have to do that? Because the Auditor General writes to these people and they write back, and all of that is contained there. So why do you invite the people and grill them on the cameras?
After the Auditor General gone to audits and then raise queries, they respond to the queries. The Auditor General finalizes the report. Those responses to the queries by the institution to the Auditor General, some of them were satisfactory. And for that matter, Auditor General will not capture it in his report. Some will not be satisfactory. So he will capture that one. Those are the ones he thinks that Parliament should debate further.
Okay.
Then he make recommendation that, assuming that money was used, misapplied, budget was voted for item A, but they used it for item B. The Auditor General recommend that you have gone against the financial rules of the country. And for that matter, reverse the money from where you paid it from to the appropriate one. That is a recommendation of the Auditor General. So, the time from the issue of the report of the Auditor General to the time that we sit on it, we expect you, the institution, to have acted on that recommendation of the Auditor General.
So that's why you invite them.
That's why we invite them to come.
Okay.
Come and tell us what you have done.
After the Auditor General asks you to do.
After Auditor General asks you to do ABCD, what did you do? To retrieve the money.
Okay.
Or to correct the error.
Okay.
If the response to us is satisfactory, then we take it. If it is not satisfactory, then we also report on that.
Before you go to the plenary? Okay.
The plenary one, our report will be debated by the plenary.
I'll come to the plenary and the subsequent actions that can be taken, but let's stay with your work.
Yeah.
Aside what we see you do on TV, do you do other backroom work?
Yes, we do.
What do you do? If a report comes, so this report has come, what
report has come. We are taking a particular institution today. For instance, we are taking Electricity Company of Ghana.
Okay, on the meters.
This is under public boards and corporations.
They have bought meters that they have not used.
That's right. So the Auditor General made a recommendation for what the management of ECG should do. Now, when we are going to sit, we invite ECG to come. So the day they will appear before us, we ask you, yes, the Auditor General asks you to do ABCD. Tell us what you have done.
So you do field trips to go and ascertain, or that's the Auditor General's job?
We don't do field trip. Our only field trip is to take the committee to the regions.
So Auditor General said ECG has bought some meters that they have locked up in a warehouse.
That's right.
Your committee will not go and check and see if the thing is there?
No, it's not our duty. We'll call them to come. Auditor General said, do ABC. What did you do about those meters?
What if they say it is not true? There are no meters.
Yeah, because we have the Auditor General. That is why I said, after reporting on this report, that is not the end of his job. So the Auditor General will have to do a follow-up to see what action they have taken on their recommendations. Now, when they come and they said, oh, we've been able to clear all those meters, that is why when we sit all the time, we have the representative of the Auditor General to sit also on the table.
Okay.
So they will have to confirm that what the ECG management is saying is true or not.
Do they speak on camera as well?
They do.
Oh, so when you finish questioning the person, you say, Mr. Auditor, is it true?
This is what he's saying. What is your people in the region
telling you?
Or how have they told you? So, yes, our people have confirmed that what they are saying is true.
Okay.
Oh, we have not gotten any feedback from our people. That is how we committee will do another further job and will report on it to the plenary.
So on this issue of meters, you write to them and say, for instance, come and explain to us, and then they come and give this explanation. Then what other powers do you have? What can you do? So they come and they explain, they say, okay, we still have not found a way around it. Then what will you do?
Yeah, so we will recommend that the Auditor General, the ECG has failed to act on the Auditor General report. So we are asking the ECG, sometimes we also give them time, we're asking ECG to take action immediately, or the Attorney General should prosecute the management.
What is this thing called surcharge and disallowance?
Yeah.
There's an aspect in there.
Yeah.
What is that?
Surcharge and disallowance. If actually the first word is disallowance.
Okay.
The Auditor General has powers under Article 187B that in the course of his duty, when he's auditing, he realizes that some expenditure has been incurred, which is against the law. And the Auditor General will say, I'm disallowing this expenditure. Once you disallow the expenditure, it means that that expenditure should not be incurred. But already they have incurred the expenditure. So when you disallow it, the money must be refunded. So you surcharge the officer who authorized that expenditure.
So he has to pay from his personal
pocket.
So even if it's a managing director, he will not use ECG money to deal with it. It has to be
once you are surcharged, you have to pay from your pocket.
So the surcharging is an individual.
Individual.
Even though it's acting in the public interest.
It's the individual.
So in the instance where Ajima Menu goes to procure Sputnik V and pays that money, let's say if this 2.6 million, 2.4 had not come back, he can be surcharged to bring that money back.
To pay that money personally.
Oh,
because if you read 187B, it said that the Auditor General may disallow any item of expenditure which is contrary to law and surcharge.
Okay, so if Auditor General can do all of this, why does Parliament have to come in? Like,
so if the Auditor General surcharge, he will report in the report, his report that have surcharged these people who incur expenditure which are disallowed. Then the Public Accounts Committee will invite those people to come and tell us whether they have paid the money. And when they pay, they must pay the money to Bank of Ghana. And there must be pay-in slip, Bank of Ghana pay-in slip to indicate, authenticate that they have paid the money. Proof. The Auditor General staff will have to go and verify and confirm that truly they have paid the money. Now, but if the Auditor General surcharge, that is not the end. If you read the Constitution, they have given power to the person who has been surcharged to also take action. That is 1879. A person aggrieved by a disallowance or surcharge made by the Auditor General may appeal to the High Court.
Oh, so you can contest, but you have to go to the High Court to go and appeal.
Yes.
Your committee, we are told, has the powers of High Court. Okay, go ahead.
10 said, the rules of court committee may, by constitutional instrument, make rules of court for the purposes of clause 9 of this article. So the rules of court committee will have to make specific rules for this. They will not follow the normal court process. They will make specific rules for this, so that when you challenge the disallowance and surcharge by the Auditor General and you appeal to the court, you apply those rules to look into the matter.
All right. Now, your committee has the power of a High Court, we are told.
We have a power of a High Court.
So if anybody is surcharged or anybody is mentioned in the report and they don't show up, you can order them to come. You can subpoena them.
Yes.
So you have police people who can arrest people.
We can subpoena people to come. We can demand documentation from them. We take them on also. That is why when you come, they will swear you in to take the oath. And if we realize that what you are doing, you are telling something which is not true, we can take action on you.
Perjury.
Perjury.
We've seen you once or twice invite the police to catch people during your committee meeting. What was that about?
That was an issue involving one district assembly, where they were involved about 53 or 56 payment vouchers without supporting document. So when they came to the committee, the accountant who was there first had left. A new accountant had come. So we gave them the opportunity to look, go back, come the following week. Fortunately, the previous accountant was also, we know where he was posted to, invite him to come with you, bring the payment vouchers that you said you cannot find. But once you contact the previous accountant, he will show you where the PVs are. Bring all of them to the committee, they will verify. When they came, apparently they have brought different payment vouchers all together. to deceive the committee. So we thought that you cannot come because thinking that we have not been with you in the office, so you can bring any payment voucher. When we gave the PVs to the Auditor General staff to verify, they realized that they have forged the figures. They cleaned them, forged it, everything. So they would say, this is criminal. So go and make a statement at the police station. That's how we refer them to the police station.
Oh, I see. So that has nothing to do with how much money has been.
No.
So your committee cannot prosecute someone.
We cannot prosecute. We can recommend prosecution.
And that's up to the Attorney General to decide.
To the Attorney General.
What do you think should be made in strengthening the Auditor General and strengthening your committee or Parliament in these instances where you find feely that someone has stolen or deliberately misapplied funds?
What we need to do is to ensure that the provision of the Constitution where it said that the Parliament shall set up a committee in the public interest to do a follow-up. After we have done our work, submit our report to Parliament. The report is debated. Our recommendations, that committee must be established so that that committee will take up the recommendations of the Auditor, Public Accounts Committee and do a follow-up. So those that will need prosecution, they follow up to the AG's Attorney General Department to ensure that the person is prosecuted. Those that need only refund, they ensure that the money is refunded.
You are an accountant. Do you find some of the people deliberately adding zeros or taking out zeros? Or some of these things
they
could be errors?
They don't add zeros. They don't take out zeros. What they do is to incur expenditure, which in actual fact they did not incur the expenditure. So they can forge an expenditure. They can forge expenditure. Or we have gone to procure A, B, C, D. They have not procured those things. But they will prepare the voucher all right. They will find invoices to support it. But in actual fact, those items were not procured. They will take the money. You will see that the store items, they say we have bought this item into the store. But when those items leave the store, no record to show that these items actually left the store and is going to do work for the public. Those items can leave the store and go to a private house, go and do private thing altogether. So those are the things that...
So this is deliberate. It's not
it's
like...
Deliberate.
It's
those ones are deliberate.
How much is the involvement of people at the management level? Do they know about these infractions? Because, so if we found that ECG there's infraction, could the MD possibly be in the know, or this would be the low-level people who are doing their own thing?
Not always that the MD will be in the know. Not always, but some the MD will be in the know.
Yeah, but if you invite the MD to come and answer questions when it's actually someone who is a meter...
That is why we encourage them that if the issue affects a particular department, because the reports will indicate the department where the infraction took place. As an MD, when you are coming, bring the heads of that department to come and respond.
Another issue is that by the time you start asking questions or investigating, the people may have been transferred. So you bring someone else, or even ministers. Sometimes you bring... Recently, I saw the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources coming before your committee to answer questions. At the time that infraction was committed...
He wasn't there.
He wasn't there.
Yeah, but that is how the thing is. That's how the thing is.
Can you go and bring the former minister?
We can only bring the former minister if that infraction affects him personally.
Okay.
But if it is institutional problem, a new person must be able to resolve it. So the new person should come and tell us that, oh, we have resolved it, this is how we resolve it. Or we are going to resolve it, and this is what we intend to do to resolve it. So the need of the previous person is not needed. But if it's involving personally that he has embezzled money, yeah, we have to bring him to the committee.
Another thing, the Constitution envisages that one should not audit themselves. So it says that the auditing committee, that's your committee, should be chaired by a member of the opposition. Now consider this flip. In 2013, 2016, NDC was in office.
Power, yeah.
Then there's a flip of power. NPP was now in charge. You are an NDC person. You possibly may have even been a minister in the last Mahamadal.
Exactly.
And now you become chair of the committee. It means you are auditing your own ex-government.
You are right.
How
it has been a challenge for us, and the new thing that we are thinking of is that we should have a system where, in the new standing orders, that if a government, the report is submitted, and that report relates to a particular party in government, a member of that party should not chair the Public Accounts Committee.
Okay.
So even though I'll be chairing, if the reports relate to, let's say, 2016, and that was the period NDC was in power, and I'm a member of that party, which is NDC, then the member from the MPP should chair the committee. That is a proposal that we're discussing.
So that from now to 2024, if, for instance, MPP loses in 2024 and you guys come into office, automatically the chair of the committee will be an MPP. And
yes.
there's an MPP government that was here. And
so
you are going to be auditing this whole
so
thing.
that's why this proposal is coming forward, so
okay.
that we don't have that problem again.
I see. Do you also find that a lot of these things are useful to the public, i.e. when they say we are going to, our money has been lost, we hear so much about it. Do we really retrieve our monies back?
We do. When you see the report of the Auditor General, he mentioned an amount. For instance, the MDA report for 2020, it talk about an amount of 12 point something billion. Yeah, this one. Ministries, department, agencies report. A total amount which has been an infraction or irregularities is a total of 12.85 billion. That is an infraction for the 2020. Now, it doesn't mean that all this money is lost to the states. There are irregularities. And if you look at the definition of irregularity, something that is contrary to the normal procedure. It means that certain things were done which were not in conformity with the law.
So misapplication.
Some misapplication. So they categorize these irregularities into financial irregularity. Let me mention them one by one. They're about 7 or 8. We have tax irregularity. If the GRA is supposed to collect tax and they didn't collect it, it's an irregularity. We have cash irregularity. Sometimes cash is collected but not paid into the account it's supposed to be paid into. It's irregularity. We have debtors, loans, and advances irregularity. Ministries give advances to the staff. They were supposed to collect the money, but they didn't. There are irregularities. Payroll irregularity. Somebody left the employment by still being paid is irregularity. Stores and procurements. As I explained earlier on, procurement items, irregularity. Then rent. Staff who are supposed to pay rent to the state, they are not paying. Contract irregularity. They didn't follow the proper procedure in awarding a contract. All this will give you the total infraction the Auditor General report on. But the Auditor General will do this with recommendations. By the time they appear before the Public Accounts Committee, about 50%, 60% of these things have been corrected. Money retrieved back to the states.
Okay.
Those that have not been collected are the ones that we report on to the House. So when you see the amount like that, it is not all that is lost to the state.
So when you are done with your committee work, you present it to the House.
Yes.
There's a general debate like they always do with a lot of these reports. And then there's an adoption or a rejection of your work.
Yes.
Then what happens next?
Then the ministries, department, and agencies or the executive will take it up. These recommendations. That is why the Public Financial Management Act, Section 86, made provision for internal audit committees of every MDA. These audit committees are to ensure that the recommendations of the Auditor General and the Public Accounts Committee are followed. The membership of this committee, the new thing that we have introduced into the Public Financial Management Act is that the membership is only 5. 2 of these members must come from the institution involved. Let's say Ministry of Health. The audit committee, the membership, 2 members must come from Ministry of Health. The remaining 3 must come from Internal Audit Agency and the Institute of Chartered Accountants, Ghana. These two bodies will produce the three people will be added, and the chairmanship of this committee will go to the three.
One of the
three. Do you understand?
Not the beneficiary institutions.
So this committee will have to ensure that the recommendations are followed.
Okay.
This is Ministry of Health, Audit Committee, Annual Audit Committee report. So they will tell me in this report the action that they have taken on all the recommendations of the Auditor General and the Public Accounts Committee.
What about the committee that the Constitution said Parliament can set up?
Yes, so the committee that the Constitution and Parliament should set up is that will be the Committee of Parliament. So when these reports are brought to us, we have to refer all these reports to that committee. They will do the final follow-up.
So, but we don't have that committee.
We don't have that one.
Have we ever created it before?
No, we have not ever.
Why? There's no need for it?
There's a need for it. It's becoming now clearer that we have to create that committee.
But it's also going to be a bipartisan committee of Parliament.
Yes, definitely.
So it's an
ad hoc committee in Parliament is going to be a bipartisan.
So it's going to be ad hoc to deal with?
I'm not sure it's going to be it's going to be a bipartisan committee because the standing orders have established the committees that we have in Parliament. And once this one is not one of them, it's going to be an ad hoc committee.
Very well.
Yes.
This is a face-to-face on CityTV. We are having some education on the work of the Public Accounts Committee in the wake of the 2020 report of the Auditor General. Unfortunately, though, we are told that that report would only be audited by the Committee of Parliament in somewhere 2023. So you can hold your excitement and wait in 2023 if you want to know what happened to the meters that ECG procured, which meters have not been used. This is face-to-face. When we come back, there's more to talk about. He's a fifth-term member of Parliament. How have the people of Ketu North benefited from his stewardship? Don't worry.
City TV is live on DSTV. Go to channel 363. On GoTV, access City TV on channel 182. On a digital TV, please press the menu button on the remote control and run a new search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access City TV on your television. City TV can be accessed on a free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and Star Times box. City TV, it's your world.
You're welcome back to Face on City TV. My guest is a man who has been auditing the work of public institutions. Now, my responsibility will be to audit him. The grey-bearded James Avedzi, who represents the people of Ketu North.
Yeah.
Tadehu, Joje, Poglo, Afipa, Weta, all those people. They are watching you.
Yes.
They've given you the opportunity to be their MP for, this will be 16 years, going into the 20th year.
Yes.
How useful have you been to them?
Oh,
open your own books up for them.
Very useful. Maybe I'm marking myself.
Yeah, I mean, giving you, since you are the PAC chair.
Yes, a lot has changed since I became a member of Parliament. I took over from the previous MP, Honorable Modestus Anyable, in 2004 through primary. So in 2005, January, I entered Parliament. And I've been saying all the time that human needs are not satiable. Once you are a living being, your needs will never be completed until the day you die. But you can get it to a point that you can tell yourself that all that you need, you've gotten it, or up to a certain level. So when I came, we had a lot of challenges. Talk about the public goods that we always talk about, the road network, water, electrification, school infrastructure, name them. Those were the needs of the communities that are in Ketu North. I can confidently tell you that during my stewardship as a MP, I have connected more than 160 villages to the national electricity grid. So today, almost every village in Ketu North have electricity through my lobbying skills. I've been saying all the time that I can't do it from my pocket. No member of parliament will do anything. There are few things that you do from your pockets, but projects of this nature can never be done. Can only do it through lobbying to government. So over 160 communities are benefited. And still, as we speak, there are projects ongoing in a few other communities in Ketu North. So that tells you the number of communities that I have in Ketu North. And they are small villages. So we've done that. When we talk about school infrastructure, very few schools are now still having the old structure or school block that they have. Over 80, both primary and junior high, over 80 schools have benefited with a new classroom infrastructure. So the schools are there, and once they have a good infrastructure, if it's raining, you don't need to close the school and then let the children run home. You stay in there and continue to study. So we have done that. If you go to my constituency, the road network, not all of them are tarred, but they are all motorable. We're still fighting for those that are not tarred should be tarred. So all these are through the lobbying that I have done. Then you talk about water. I was able to bring an American philanthropist to bring drilling rig to drill borehole for people. Almost every village has borehole. Almost every village has borehole. That is what I've done. Now I'll be able to bring a modern district hospital to Pata, which is a Ketu North Municipal District Hospital. We have the St. Anthony Hospital, which is a mission hospital, which was serving as a district hospital until I brought a new one. Recently, I asked the Minister of Health when they are going to, they have commissioned the hospital, but when are they going to start operation? Just Sunday, the Municipal Health Director and then the doctor and the administrator who have been posted to the hospital came to me. Government is supposed to get them water, but there's no water on site. So now I'm working now to get a borehole for the hospital, so that they can start operation. So those are the things that I have done. Aside personal
support and funeral donations.
Funeral, I don't even count the my thing, the personal support. Most people that have paid their school fees, who are now working, most people that I have supported and made them get jobs, and they are working now, feeding their families. Most people that I have supported, recruit them into the military, recruit them into the police, fire service, immigration. That's corruption? It's not corruption.
You have a ticket. They've given you a ticket. A number of people you can see.
If I come to you, if you're the director of one of the agencies, and I come to you there, I have 2 boys. Please recruit them for me, and they are qualified and they are recruited. Is it corruption?
Yes, that's corruption.
Why is it corruption?
That's because you have used your influence.
Of course.
To
not to my benefit.
To put someone
not
who
to my benefit. To the benefit of the people I represent.
But why don't they go through the proper recruitment process?
Why don't they go through the proper recruitment process? Yes, they have gone through that severally. They are not going through.
Yeah, so it means they are not qualified.
They have a member of parliament.
Yeah,
who can just go and appeal to somebody.
No, he intimidates the director of immigration in the region and says, "Put this people in." That's what happens.
We don't intimidate. In fact, we go to plead on their behalf.
You're a member of parliament. You with so much influence.
No.
Do you have a quota, MPs?
No, we don't. No, we don't.
For police?
No, we don't. So the issue about this, they said, "Oh, MP, can you give me one of your quota," or they call it protocol?
You don't have that.
We don't.
Yeah, but you have the power to go and threaten the CDS and say that especially when you're a party in power.
If every member has the power to threaten, then it means that there will not be anybody left without.
Then you turn around and say that there are vigilantes in the police and the soldiers. That is because of you, MPs.
I have told you that people that I have supported, me myself, have to ensure that they have qualified.
Yes.
This is what the police or the military are asking for. That if you send the person and it's not qualified, he can never be given.
But if he's qualified, let him go through the recruitment process himself. Because if I qualify to go to a university, I don't need an MP to go to the vice chancellor or the rector and say that please admit these students. It should be the same thing. Why would you, an MP, go and show documents to someone and say, put this person, let this person wear a uniform?
I've told you that if I go
on election day, they'll shoot somebody and they say,
if I send a list, and they are not qualified, People who are not qualified will not be recruited.
How many times have they rejected your
Several.
You sure?
Severally. Sometimes I the whole year I try, I don't even get.
You don't get some. How many years do you think an MP can really serve his people for before he can say, look, it's enough, I've done my part, let me walk?
As long as he has the strength, as long as he continues to represent his people, he can go as long as he also want to live. That is why the Constitution made it clear that there's no term limit for members of Parliament. There are members of Parliament who do 2 terms, and they think that what they want to achieve, they have achieved, they are living. There are people who have done 6, 7, Honorable Bagwin did 7 terms, okay? Honorable Chairman Sir is doing his 7th term. Honorable Colizado is doing his 7th term. I am doing my 5th term, and I have decided that 5 terms is enough for me. I'm not going again.
You're not running for?
No, I'm not running for 2024. I'm not running.
You have told the people?
Yes, I've told them.
I've told
them. They know. Oh. 2024 la Avedzi Parliamentary go. Ayata amo oyom o chachamfia bo yobayi. Na tamadogia o do motor de shale ke delegates o da shile jikwa. Nkata mi support mama.
I see.
So for me, I'm not going again.
So that's a confession that he's not going to go.
No,
if we see you on the ballot in 2024, what should we do to you?
It will be a miracle.
Yes, what should we do to that miracle?
Then you ask the miracle why.
But you don't.
I don't intend running.
Your heart, there's no.
No.
Is it that you are tired, you're sick, you're giving up? Why?
No, I think what I've done to 20 years in Parliament is enough. Let somebody also come.
You're just leaving. It's not because you're unpopular.
Well, once I'm winning the election, why do you say I'm not unpopular?
Maybe you've done the projection in 2024. If you go, you lose. So
no. If I go, no. Let me tell you, there is no election that Avedzi will put his head in if he's not going to win. Okay? But I have decided voluntarily to say I'm not going again. That is why I even started telling them now, January. I started telling them from January 2021. Once I've decided that I'm going to contest the primary, it means I'm winning the election.
What are you going to do after retirement? You'll be running mate. And this running mate.
No. I'm not going to leave politics. So I'll be relevant in other field. Okay. Yes.
We wish you all the best and thank you for speaking to us and congratulations on your tenure in Parliament.
Thank you very much.
That's Honorable James Klucha Avedzi. He's Public Accounts Committee Chair. He's Member of Parliament, Ketu North. He's Deputy Minority Leader in Parliament. He was my guest on Face to Face. And my name is Umaru Sandamado. Please stay with City TV. It's your world.